The wait is over and we got another great chapter of Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest. Things are finally going into motion. This latest arc is starting to ramp up. We got to see and get the name reveals of all of Ferris's demons. We got to see what's going on with those giant lacrima. We get to see the first game plan for Team Fairy Tail in this giant situation. And a character that I did not fully expect to be revealed to have returned. But honestly, makes sense. And I'm also really excited to see what's going to happen with this from this point forward. But before we jump right into this review, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Fairy Tail Fridays have always been booming, but I'm planning to release at least one more Fairy Tail video a week whenever I get the chance to really bring in more Fairy Tail content, because there's just been so much I want to talk about with the series, chapters, the anime, everything. And I want to try and bring more Fairy Tail stuff for you guys, because it's just going to be a hell of a lot more fun if we do. But with that little thing out of the way, let's jump right into this chapter. With chapter 165 of 100 Years Quest, titled 5 Fairies. Cover image is hilarious. Natsu and Happy tried drawing on Urza's face, and now she made them the melons that she will now smash in the beach. Honestly, Natsu, Happy, you guys knew what you were getting into with this. You have no one to blame but yourselves. But the chapter starts off from last time with us Acnologia Dragon after Eleftheria brought everybody back after the huge boost of power that we saw from Ignia's spell, as the very crest that he has of the 5 dragon gods is now shining, saying that the sky glowed and ether nano particles evaporated, as Eleftheria's crow comes in and saying that this is bad, as everybody but Wendy is honestly trying to think, where have they seen this crow before, as he is literally the bird of passage from the Labyrinth arc. I find it funny that nobody knows who this crow is except for Wendy. Shade ends up saying, according to his intel network, the dragon gods they already defeated have been revived and they're going berserk. Athena says, and Viernus as well. Eleftheria says even Mercphobia and Selene with an incredible amount of regret. For 2 reasons. 1, because they already seemingly sealed away the dragon gods. And 2, because Mercphobia and Selene turned over a new leaf. Despite their powers being sealed, they became more so allies, but now they're going fully berserk. But Natsu gets confident, stating, we already beat him once. We'll do it again. Which, outside Selene, I love the confidence, Natsu, but there were a lot of circumstances that went into beating the dragon gods that you beat. Eleftheria states, no, their power has increased. In fact, this may actually be their true power level. Which, yeah, we all kind of expected based on how the previous chapters have left things off with. So I'm excited nonetheless. And to showcase that this isn't going to be an easy fight. This is going to be a lot tougher. And if that wasn't bad enough, Eleftheria states that now giant lacrimas have appeared on each of the 5 dragon gods' lands. And they're starting to turn people into dragons. So with the last chapter of that giant lacrima, it's confirmed that what this thing is being used for the giant dragonification spell that Ignia is using to turn people into dragons for his dragon nation, his dragon world. And it's not just his members of Fire and Flame, but he's turning civilians into dragons now as well. Which shocks everybody that they're turning non-dragon slayers into dragons. And Natsu then gets a flashback of what Ignia stated, and he's like, no way. Is it that Dragon King festival thing Ignia was talking about? And I like this as a comedic moment that everyone is shocked for a second with what Natsu blurted out. But they kind of ignore him for a second as Lucy goes on to say, in any case, if these lacrimas are turning people into dragons, will destroying them return them to normal? And Wendy states that this could also end the frenzy the dragon gods are in. Now, this is definitely a theory that Lucy just came up with, since these lacrima are being used to turn people into dragons. Now, the turning people into dragons portion, I do think it can, if they destroy them, stop more people from turning into dragons. I don't think it'll turn them back to normal. That is the most likely case, them turning back to normal afterwards, but I don't think, with how things went, the dragon gods will just be snapped right out of their whole frenzy. Also, Alderaan and Viernus are definitely just going to keep rampaging and doing whatever the hell they want. Selene and Mercphobia most definitely will be turned back into themselves, maybe after a quick brawl or something like that, or some other outside factor. But it'd be a very interesting turn if Majima made it so that they would have to actually take down Mercphobia and Selene. but that's not going to be the case. I highly, highly doubt that's going to be a direction Mashima's going to go for. Furious and Elderon, 100%, they're going to die again. No, 100%. There was never any sign of them literally turning good. The writing's on the wall for them, eventually, if they're strong enough to take them out. But Natsu gets confident with this idea and says, okay, we'll destroy all the giant Lacrima. There's 5 of us and 5 enemies. Oh, sorry, forgot about Ferris. As he literally forgot one of the biggest revelations and kind of says it to Urza in a pretty nonchalant way, stating that Earthland Ferris seems like a baddie. Urza's like, what? But Natsu's like, whatever. Natsu, I love you. But if somebody is coming in and proclaiming themselves to not only be the new Black Wizard like your previous brother, but also comes in with Acnologia's missing arm in his power, that seems like something you should mention in detail with everybody, because that is some very big information, and you probably should have told them about this to prepare them in case they meet her. Because, literally, Acnologia was already strong enough on his own before the rift in time he ate. Even his arm has a ton of power. But, you know, let's leave it be. Natsu's super confident. We'll see what repercussions this will end up being. But Natsu gives one last thing, stating that we'll destroy Lacrimas before all the people on the continent are turned into dragons. We'll each do one, as everybody smirks as they're ready to take on their mission. As Levseria is kind of concerned, being like, well, hold on a moment. You intend to go separately? As Natsu says, yeah, that'll be faster. And don't worry, when we take on a job, we get it done. Let's go. Fairy Tail's gonna complete the 100 Years quest. Now, before we move on with the chapter, to finish things off, I need to say something. Levseria is right on the fact that this whole plan is not a good one. Yes, chances are they could probably destroy the Lacrima if they get the opportunity to. But going into these 5 different areas, all 5 of them, is very reckless and deadly. Everybody's turning into dragons, and the dragon gods are going on rampages in their general vicinities. This is definitely set up for actual help to show up in these sections, so most definitely. Maybe Diablos, I'm hoping. Maybe somebody else as well. But 100% Diablos is going to come into the fray. At least for whoever is near the Diablos guild, because that's where the next Lacrima is. That's where Selene is. So, if anything, there's that. But I'm sure Levseria is going to do something to give the Fairy Tail Wizard some help. But back to the chapter, we actually cut to Ferris and her group of the Oracion Sechs. As she goes on to say, it seems that Ignia wishes to turn this continent into a world of dragons. The humans are acting to stop him. Our aim is to crush both groups, to create a world of black wizards where neither humans nor dragons are needed. As we now get the introduction of all the members of the Oracion Sechs in their own corresponding panels and dialogue. We get the first one, Gaia. Yes, may that world be overflowed with love. Then we have Damon, or Demon. Who needs love? As long as I have black, I'll melt. We then get Bird. The humans and dragons will all fall to the ground before our might. Next up is Blade. I'll cut them down with my demonic blade. Then there's Gate. I'm looking forward to when we release our power. As someone tells these kids, as he states, to pipe down. We don't need any words for destruction. Just gotta reduce everything to 0. As the final member of the Oracion Sechs is Master Zero from the original Oracion Sechs. Now this is a big reveal and revelation right here. Because if we all remember, during Tartarus, Zero, aka Brain, was killed by Cobra when they were released from prison by Mest during the whole Tartarus incident. And killing Brain / Zero was to basically free them of their shackles from their past lives and so they can live for themselves. This chapter flat out confirms that Ferris not only found Acnologia's arm in that arc, but also found Zero's body and found a way to not only revive him, but make him a demon as well. So this is going to be interesting. This is definitely a character I never expected in a million years to be brought back, and I'm curious to see where this is going to lead, because I will say this forever, Zero is not my favorite Fairy Tail villain. While I do like evil and destructive characters for the sake of it, it's fun. Some arcs you need him, but he's just not the deepest character. And he's not my favorite by that aspect. He was fun for the arc, but I'm still not the biggest fan of the guy. But with him here, this is definitely going to add some pretty interesting drama, some very interesting interactions, and most likely a pretty hype fight if he does get a rematch with Natsu. Or would it be interesting if Jalal shows up and fight him? That'd be cool too, because Natsu and Jalal were present for that initial Master Zero fight in the Oracion Sechs arc. So that's very interesting. But Demon says, oh, that's rich coming from an ex-human. How about I melt you? Based on our dialogue, her ability is most likely going to have to do with melting people. I'll talk about each of the Sechs in a second, and I might make a whole other video speculating on their powers and abilities in the future. But Zero says, interesting. But Fairy says, enough. I used to be human too, but those under black demonic influence cannot be human. As she states, I gained power from Acnologia and became a black wizard. And Zero, you gained power from Nirvana and became a demon. As Zero scoffs and says, as long as I can destroy everything, I don't care. And I owe ya my life. But I ain't following anybody's orders, I do what I want. As Fairy says, that's fine. As the others are being like, come on, you're encouraging the guy. Zero says, I want to destroy you when this job's done. As the other demons are being like, oh, you crossed the line there, I'll cut you down. But Fairy says, he's fine, I like this side to Zero. I'll share a nice little tidbit to get you excited about this job, as she mentions it to Zero. The humans opposing the dragons are from the guild known as Fairy Tail, as this triggers intense hatred and anger from Zero as he mutters their name. And this makes sense considering Fairy Tail destroyed his plans, defeated him, and humiliated him. So yeah, it makes sense why he'd have a literal hate boner for the guild. I also like the piece of dialogue that Ferris confirms that the reason she became a black wizard was after coming in contact with Acnologia's arm and power. So it's very possible, because I've been going back through Fairy Tail and I don't know if this was ever confirmed or if this was just like hearsay in the world of Fairy Tail and exaggeration like everything about Zeref. But a lot of people have stated that Zeref was the reason that Acnologia became so strong during the war with the dragons by giving Acnologia a bit more power to add onto his Dragon Slayer powers. I don't think that was ever confirmed. I'm going back to the manga right now. I'm rewatching the anime to double check on this. But let me know in the comment section down below if this was ever fully confirmed in the manga or in the anime or supplementary material, because I cannot remember and I need this confirmation really quick, because this line might actually confirm that Zeref's power was within Acnologia and Acnologia's arm to an extent, and that's how she became a black wizard. So that is an interesting piece of dialogue. And the fact that she's no longer human, that is also an interesting tidbit now, showcasing the influence that Acnologia's arm and this new black magic has had on her. And also more confirmation that the reason Zero became a demon was because of Nirvana's influence. So adding that alongside most likely Ferris's black magic is how Zero was brought back as a demon. Maybe the same way that Zeref brought Natsu back as a demon of E&D. That would be an interesting way to bring a parallel. And that might actually be why she gained the name of Black Wizard, creating demons, one of which reviving somebody from the dead and getting this dark power, perhaps. That is very interesting, and I'm curious to see more, because with Zero brought back, we're definitely going to get some form of, like, flashback to how this happened in this section of the story during these last couple of years. But, yeah, I'm very happy about this. I'm curious about Zero, and I'll make an entirely different video on the Oracion Sechs in the future before we get anything else on these characters, so look forward to that. We then cut to the city of Ermina, where Lucy is, as she states that the sky is water, and that this is the power of Mercphobia, taking us all the way back to the Mercphobia fight, where he literally brought the ocean into the air. And the anime actually started to adapt this right now in the 100 Years Quest anime, which is really cool, and I love the visuals for it. But Lucy says that she has to find the Lacrima quick. She starts running through town, as then a giant pillar twister of water shoots up from the ground, throwing debris right at her as she dodges out of the way. But when she gets up, she then sees all of the citizens of Ermina have become dragons, as they all lunge after her. Lucy barely manages to avoid being crushed into the ground by one of the citizens, as they've all gone berserk as well, as she's running for her life, as they are so strong, one hit would be it for her. As more of the ground begins to collapse around them, Lucy then falls into the water, as she looks over and sees somebody off in the distance. As we see Caramel, as she is dragonified, stating, "Those who target the water god will answer to me," as this shocks Lucy, ending the chapter. So we're getting a Lucy fight next chapter, as it seems like she's going to fight a Dragonified Water Dragon Caramel, seemingly, or is it just going to be a plain old dragon with raw strength? No clue. But I like the fact that everybody has gone berserk and crazy, and then now Team Fairy Tail decided, you know what, let's split up and at least destroy all these Lacrimas, and eventually they'll take on the Dragon Gods. Maybe it'll bring Mercphobia and Celine back to their senses, but they have no real way of knowing this. Master Zero is back somehow with the powers of the Black Wizard, a bit of Nirvana, and now we have all the names of the Oracion Sechs. I'm just going to say this. Half of their names are dumb. Blade, Gate, Bird? Legitimately, those three have cool designs, but their names suck. Now, Blade is fine, but I'm like, I don't know, I figured like the demons of Tartarus had much cooler names. Obviously, the girl, Demon, it's basic, but it's a fine name. We got Zero. It's Zero, it's still a cool name, despite how much I'm not the biggest fan of Master Zero. And Gaia. That's fine, fits the appearance as well. Honestly, all their names are definitely references to what their abilities most likely are, and I'm curious to make a video on these individually, but I'm curious to see what's going to happen next, because now that Zero knows that Fairy Tail is going to get in his way again, this is definitely his big motivation for him to do something. Whatever location he's going to be at, we'll have to wait and see, and I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Lucy. Honestly, this section of the story, this situation, would be the best possible time for Lucy to either get the Aquarius key, bring back Aquarius, or have the honestly pretty cool plot twist if this happens, Branda show up to save her ass with Aquarius' key, showcasing that she beat Lucy into getting Aquarius' key in the first place. Which I'd be happy with, because that would be definitely a nice big change of pace, and would be pretty interesting to see how this would pan out for the future of the story. Also, I like Caramel's dragon design, despite it being literally like a half-human, half-dragon. Either way, it's still fun, and the miscellaneous citizens' dragon designs are really cool. Even though they're not giant, fully fledged dragons, they're more like dragonoids, dragonutes or whatever, dragon people. Their designs still look pretty damn sick, no matter what. Even though the current artist Ueda, I think his name is drawing Fairy Tail, he's not only gotten Mashima's style down, but he does a really good job at the dragon designs from Mashima. And no matter what, Mashima's dragon designs always are great, and I love this as well. And I said this again, I don't think that the Lacrimas are going to just end this whatsoever if they're destroyed. And I'm expecting full-on rematch with the Dragon Gods and eventual matchups with the new Oracion Sechs and Ferris as well. But this video is long enough as it is. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments section down below your theories, speculations, your thoughts on this chapter, the demons, the dragons, everything, and the plan that's moving forward in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel, and shows you want to see more. And with that all said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.